Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, if you guys have missed the news, today there is really big Xbox news that has come out as of today. Now, this is really big news in regards now to the Xbox acquisition, where it actually is positive good news for Xbox. Now, in case you guys do or do not know, obviously Xbox has been trying to go buy Activsion for quite some time, although there's been a little bit of regulatory hiccups that have been somewhat halting and or delaying the actual acquisition itself. Now, what this kind of means is that we were looking for the FTC, so basically the big American kind of government, to go and decide if they like this or dislike this, because the FTC itself did go and vote and kind of basically did a legal motion to block the deal. But as well, we've also already had things like the CMA, which is still the big hyper focus now, that it was also basically said no, while the European Trade Commission said yes. So as of right this second, the deal is still not 100% done, but right now the Xbox did go and apparently win as of this second against the FTC. So we're going to go talk about this, talk about the news, talk about what kind of happens next, and as well the likelihood of this deal still going through. And on top of this, I just want to kind of hear your thoughts and comments all down below. As well, make sure you guys go check out the How link down below. We have a really good Samsung deal and $50 promo going on down below. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below too as well if you guys want to follow that one up. And same with the Amazon Prime Day too. We have the consoles up on sale, link down below. Let's dive into the news itself. So very first and foremost, in case you guys do or do not care about when it comes to stocks, very first, Activision itself, based on the really good news that happened as of today, is actually up 10% on the market. Basically, there was almost seemed like a slightly early leak when it comes to this stuff, and it does seem like as of right now, Microsoft can go and close the Activision merger at the federal judges have ruled. So once again, this does not mean 100%. Does not mean it's going to happen almost no matter what. It's not true. But it does go and mean that it's very way more likely. We are still kind of waiting for this limbo. But as of right now, the stock has gone insane as of today, although the stock has been relatively mostly kind of normal, all based on the fact that it does have the actual acquisition for it. It's kind of priced in. So the stock's going to be up and down, but with the fact that it seems like it's going likely, going pretty good. That's probably the sign right here. The FTC kind of was basically against it because a lot of the uncertainty popped up from there. But right now, we actually have a lot of big orders when it comes to the FTC's thing. So the FTC actually lost, and as of right now, Microsoft and ABK can technically close. Once again, I want to remind you guys, we still have to worry about other European-type bodies, like the CMA, to go and discuss this, but at the same time, too, as well, you got to worry about it. Like, it's basically like if America kind of approves, a lot of other places are probably going to approve as well. I'm sure you guys can probably agree. So basically, after considering the parties' voluminous pre- and post-hearing writing submissions, and having filed a 5-day involuntary hearing, the court denies the motion for preliminary injunction the FTC has not shown. So what this kind of means, at least from my legal interpretation, I am not a legal lawyer, but as you guys probably know, I've been in a big court case itself for bankruptcy, so I've at least learned a decent bit about the court and court structure. So if you guys do want to read this, first and foremost, there is a proper PDF that has been redacted. It's around a 53-page document that's out here that kind of goes and talks about the ideas, their intents, and kind of a little bit more of the bigger, I guess, ideas of what's going on. So kind of basically saying hey, Call of Duty's fine, blah blah. So the really big things too as well is that they, basically the big legal government discussing this stuff, kind of said that there wasn't any major big issues with all the three really big monopoly law. Now, I'm going to go and say this because there's probably going to be a video on my channel these next few days, but there's been a lot of Xbox in terms of people being scared about the future of gaming as a whole, which I would love to do a deep dive into and kind of throw a little bit more of a hot take. But right now, it seems like in terms of console gaming, PlayStation is still the market leader. So even the FTC and basically the decision was more on a third party, not the FTC itself. The FTC just basically didn't approve of it initially, but afterwards they it's whatever. So the idea of this is that consoles, PlayStation and Nintendo, have a bigger market share than Xbox. If Xbox was probably in the same position that PlayStation was, this deal probably would have not gone through from monopoly laws. But right now, them being in third place and Sony still having a lot of good games, it kind of goes to show that Activision will probably end up going and maybe being bought out because it's not, at least on the console side, monopoly. Cloud gaming. Cloud gaming does still seem like it's an early enough standard, and of course with some other pretty big heavy hitters and also cloud hosting things, such as things like Amazon, etc., they still have other competition in the markets, and they do somewhat have a little bit of wiggle room going on in. I still want to say, though, cloud gaming, cloud hosting, and Game Pass can potentially be a big monopoly issue, although if it is good for the consumer, it might be fine. I don't mind paying $11 for a lot of games. It's kind of like Netflix. If it's the number one big daddy, they either probably makes other big companies want to step on in for profit profitability or whatever it might be. And then, well, last is kind of like the mobile side. I don't think mobile is really that much of a big deal in general. But basically right now, it does kind of seem like this is now being confirmed right now. So the sentence that says she denies because the FTC has not been able to show a likelihood of success on any of its theories of harm. And the theories of harm are those three I basically was covered on mobile, cloud gaming, and console gaming as a whole. And it does kind of seem like right now, it says the FTC has not shown it's likely to succeed on its assertion. The combined firm will probably put Call of Duty from PlayStation, Sony, or its ownership of Activision content will substantially lessen competition in video games, library subscription, and cloud gaming costs, which, in all honesty, I would actually kind of disagree. I think it will go and affect it, obviously. But they even say the word substantially lessen. I think it's fine. Like, I'm a PC gamer. I could always buy an Xbox too. But if all these things are going and staying on PC, I don't mind. Like, I'm okay with that trade-off. It's cool with me. But there will probably be some sort of changes up from Sony. It might actually be good because it might actually go light a fire underneath Sony itself to go make them make more unique and specific, maybe FPS-based games. They're really good at single-player games, not that much good on the multiplayer type side, besides maybe Bungie. So if you guys want to go creep this through as well. So there's a few other little side things too on top of this, but basically saying they had a chance to announce it at any point. They may have actually had this announced as of yesterday, and they had a somewhat redacted motion on this one too as well. And on top of this too, they did go and say that they can still, like, there's basically like still an awkward limbo as of right this second. They said they, however, they included gaming PCs in the console market definition. They did not do that, so she did appear somewhat receptive to the idea at the hearing as well. So basically, want to make sure PC gaming is still relevant and around, but it's not as big as console gaming. Console gaming was the biggest issue. And of course, Sony has still been publishing games on Steam, which is also a nice thing to go qualify as well. And obviously, Game Pass and Microsoft Store is also up on, well, PC. One big issue, though, is Nintendo does not, although I would love to have Nintendo games on PC. That'll probably be a pipe dream until another, like, 15 years from now. So, all this kind of seems interesting. It says basically they even had a chance to go call out Sony, stating, in addition to exclusivity, Sony also uses its market power to extract other preferential treatment from third-party game developers, including earlier release dates, exclusive marketing agreements, and exclusive in-game content. So basically all these big titles, such as even the Activision Call of Duty, like, early access, in terms of, like, the pre-orders and all that type of stuff, that is a big thing to know, because they were using their bigger market share to go and get these early deals. A good example, once again, is still on Square Enix, where I would not be that surprised to go and see Square Enix actually get bought out by PlayStation. This actually might become like the acquisition back and forth now between these big companies, and Sony actually may even want to allocate even more money to make sure the PlayStation brand can keep on expanding, especially if there's a $70 billion outside investment to Xbox, let alone like the few billion-dollar Bethesda acquisition too as well. But it does kind of seem like Sony's bigger market share did go and actually screw over some of the stuff on Xbox, or actually more so helped out on Xbox itself, because with them, they kind of just they kind of leveraged up a little bit too over our core, and Xbox didn't really know what to kind of really do at that point. I also say only the Activision titles made available on multi-game subscription services have been back cataloged games offered for a limited period of time too as well for promotional purposes, etc. So that's a big thing to know, is we also still have to worry about the cloud gaming too as well, because they could still potentially even have like, say, like game downloads for your consoles, or even have like other big market makers come on in, or things like Nvidia or Steam or EA or like Ubisoft Plus, etc., etc. So it kind of seems like kind of intriguing. Like they kind of basically say even for cloud gaming that they mainly use it for a game while it's being downloaded to play natively on the console itself, and they don't necessarily really use cloud gaming as like a perpetual trade-off. It's more so just like, let me go play a game now, and then I'll go and download the game and I'll play the game on better graphics or higher HD or faster loading times whenever it comes out too as well. And it's kind of one of their big anti-things for xCloud too on top of that. Or sometimes they'll play a game like one time and never check it out ever again. So it's kind of an intriguing thing to kind of go and note too. So basically they have a lot more stuff we can kind of deep dive into this one, but I think the bigger thing is what will happen next. So as of right this second, like, we're going to probably have some pretty good stuff to deep dive into for the next few days when it comes to this, but basically right now the FTC has to make the decision whether they want to appeal this actual statement. So they can still say, hey, we don't actually agree with this ruling, let's go and have another judge look at it, and they can go from there. But then part two is that the CMA still has not approved it, and like they could still just go through the acquisition and just not service the UK for whatever reason, which might be fine. You have America and other regions, but at the same time too, they still have to work out with the agreement to go work with the CMA, because the European Trade Commission did approve of it already, and quite a few other countries did as well. But as of right this second, they still have not approved of it. They've denied it, so they could still make this acquisition acquisition happen regardless. They just couldn't do it in the UK because the UK did go block the deal, but they could do in theory in other parts of Europe. So it'll be intriguing too because they have a deadline of July 18th as well, and we'll see more information as time goes on. So I want to hear your thoughts and comments too, because this is a big win for Xbox. It's not 100%, but it's at like a 95, I'd say. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Check out the HOL link down below for the $50 off Samsung sales. We have the Amazon links for all the consoles and Prime Day, so check out those good deals. And of course, all the Twitter and Twitch room down below. And I appreciate y'all so much for watching here in the first place.